All right, hello again, fellow coder. Welcome to this series called FreshVotes, which is where we are building a real-world Java web app from scratch, leveraging technology such as Spring Boot, and in this case, Bootstrap. So in the last video, we were talking about button alignment and getting that all set up and making the screen more pretty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the sort of guidelines that we have here for the columns, just helping you show where the grids are and everything. Get grid columns, I should say. We're going to get rid of those, and I'm going to add a couple things in here. One is if I fail to log in, there is a message that says failed to log in. I would like that to look a little bit more pronounced. So I'm going to be using alert, the alert box or whatever it's called. We'll see. And then I'm going to leverage something called a card, because that's a fairly common thing with Bootstrap 4 now. As you can see, I'm looking at cards right now. We'll get into that in a moment. First, I'm going to go to alerts. And this is going to be very, very simple. I'm going to have a red colored alert pop up when there's an error that appears, right? So on the screen right here, you see it says failed to log in, but you almost miss it because it doesn't pop out. So anyway, first things first, let's get rid of our handicapped rows here to get rid of the column markers. So let's refresh the page. There we go. Those column markers are gone. Now let's make this failed to log in pop a little bit. So where is the message? This is the failed to whatever message, right? Failed to log in shows up here. So this is the div with the if that shows if there's an error, it'll show this pop up here. So how do we augment this to be an alert type box? Well, it's really, really, really simple. Class and role. Okay, that's it. We assign class of alert and then a role of alert. And as you can see, there's the primary, secondary, success, danger, warning, info, light, and dark classes. Primary, secondary, success, danger, warning, blah, blah, blah. So we want ours to be a danger alert. Therefore, we need to leverage the class of alert danger, and the role of alert. So we just need to add this to our div. Literally, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste it into our existing div right here. And I'm pretty sure that's it. Refresh. Failed to log in. There we go. You see how simple it is? This is going back to my rant on CSS Grid versus Bootstrap. I know CSS Grid is native and CSS Grid is probably going to be the future, but I don't know. I feel like Bootstrap is still so simple to use. I just like it myself. Anyway, next thing I want to talk about is cards. So let's go into components. Again, I'm in the documentation. I go down to components. This is where everything is that I typically work with. And then I want to look at cards. So what is a card? Well, it's just a nice way to lay stuff out. It's just a nice way to display things. You could do it with some sort of a media image or something here with a title and then content and then a button. And this is how you do that. But I think if there is I think I like this one a little bit better in terms of what my use case is, but let me keep poking around and seeing if I can find one that I like a little better. Yeah, I kind of like this one with the header and the footer, sort of. Anyway, there's different flavors of cards that you can use, but I kind of like this one, okay? And I'll show you why. So this is the code. We're going to define a card. Okay, you can almost think of the card class as sort of like a container for everything. You then identify a header, you identify body, you identify title, text, and then whatever else you want to put in there. Okay, card, header, body, title, text. So essentially, the wrapper, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you want to remember. So for this login here, I want to put everything inside of a card, kind of like I'm putting a card inside of a container. So a card inside of a container, and everything else is inside of the card class, which is like another type of container in my opinion. But anyway, so I'm going to take all the div here and I'm going to move it up. I'm going to hit Alt up. Alt up will move it up and down. You can also hit Alt down to move whatever code you've selected up and down. Again, I can show you this. If I just highlight this row and hit Alt up, you can see I can move this guy up or move this guy down. It's pretty helpful. But I also need to tab it, so I'm going to highlight all this stuff here and tab to shift it over to be inside of the card. And then we need to define div class card, was it header? Card header, okay? And this is where I'm going to say, please log in. See how this please log in is sort of floating around here? We can make this into our header. So this can say, please log in. So please log in. And then I'm going to essentially get rid of the field set, right? Is that what yeah, because the field set isn't really doing anything for us anyway. We're not seeing anything fancy going on with the field set. So let's get rid of the field set and the legend that used to say, please log in. And then the closing field set. And then we will shift all of this stuff here over to the left one. Oh, how come this looks unbalanced? To here. Oh, because this input should be like that, and then we should move everything to the left. There we go. Anyway, you don't have to get it perfectly aligned, but I'm just a little bit picky with my indentations. So, div class card header, please log in, and then div class card body. So there's the header and the body. So the header is here, and the body is here. So all this stuff is going to go into the body. Alt up to bring it up into the body. Tab it over to be inside the body in a nice fashion. So now you can see card body, and then everything else is inside of the card body. And then we can have a card title to make it, to have a bolded title here. But actually, we don't need a bolded title because I think it'll look fine when I refresh. So let me save this. Let me take a wild stab at it and refresh. There you go. And then look, I don't know, I think it looks a little better, except for here, the username and password are a bit squished. But that's where the next topic will come in, okay? So the next topic, as I promised, above and beyond just making it look a little bit prettier here, is the grid layout in terms of the columns. So what I did not tell you is that these columns are responsive as they pertain to certain screen sizes. So if you look at the layout grid, you will see that there is this table of content that talks about the options. They talk about extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large. Okay, these aren't combos. These aren't, sizes of drinks. These are the size specifications for screen widths, the width of a screen. So less than 576 pixels in width. Typically, these are phones. Phones will typically have less than 576 pixels in width on the screen. Then there's small. So some bigger phones, maybe like the large, the extra large type, the XL phones or whatever, might fall into this category potentially, or tablets, okay? And this is where definitely tablets would fit into medium, and even some low-res, small computer screens would start to fit into medium. Large is typically computer, and extra large is typically, again, computer screens. So we have these categories that we can leverage in terms of how we want to display our content, and how we choose these different types of sizes depends on the class prefix. Okay, .col hyphen. Okay, this is what have been using. col -6. The dot here, the dot represents class. So, but that's why I don't have a dot here, because it's when you say class equals, right? So column dash, and then we put a number right away, means we're saying this should be the way it looks on an extra small screen. Okay, but then the next step up is .col -sm, and then .col -md, and then .col lg, and then xl. So nothing, if it's just if it's column dash and then a number, that means it's extra small. If it's col -sm, sm is a small screen. Okay, md is a medium screen, lg is a large screen, xl is an extra large screen. Okay, and as you can see, they do have they call it gutter width. 15 pixels of sort of, I guess, padding on either side. So, and yes, these are nestable. So that's what I was showing in previous videos. You can nest them, grids inside of grids type of thing, which is very powerful. So, what does this all mean? How does this apply to the real world? How does this apply to what we're looking at right now? Well, on a large screen here, you see we don't have enough room for username and password to show up with the stuff that we want it to show up with. So that's just not enough room. So we need to make this column bigger on a large screen. But for now, let's leave it as is in terms of the column specification that we're using. So let's switch this to call-3, and then we need to remove 1 from here. If we moved 2 to 3, we then need to modify this to go down 1, right? Because 3 plus 10 is not 12. 3 plus 9 is 12. And then again, 3 and 9. Now, we haven't done anything with respect to the SM or MD or LG or XL, whatever. We haven't done anything with respect to that. But here's where it comes into play, is when we shrink the screen. When we shrink the screen, look what happens. Okay, that looks awful, does it not? Okay, this is awful. And the reason why this is awful, well, it's sort of 2 reasons, actually. I'm squeezing stuff in where I probably don't need to. Let me, like this right here, this row column thing. Do I need this to be 6? I don't think I do. I think this is artificially inhibiting us here because we're trying to squish everything into 6 columns, which is not necessary. So let me get rid of that. I just deleted it. That was more for demonstration purposes before. Let me refresh. Okay, that gives us a bit more real estate now, right? The real estate is being stretched across. We're no longer artificially restricted to half of the size of the whole card here. So I took away the parent restriction. But we still see that it's not enough, right? Username and password still overlap. So what's the fix here? Well, the fix is 2 things. On a small screen, we could fix it in such a way that the width of the label is something like 6, and the width of the text area is also 6, so 6 plus 6. So that would, if we do this, make the username appear better, right? But now we have too much space here. So this is where we can fiddle with it and say, okay, maybe 4, and 4 plus what is 12? 4 plus 8 is 12. So then, that looks a little bit better, right? So that's one way we can do it. But look, when we make it big, we have this sort of artificial, that's not good. We're not leveraging the space here. And actually, it looks like we're artificially being... is it because we have a row here? Hold on, let me get rid of this row and see if that makes a difference in terms of the... There we go. So this is what I meant to say. Because we had a row there, it was artificially... shrinking our screen there. So on a small screen, it looks okay, sort of. But on a big screen, it looks kind of silly, right? And this is where we can leverage the sizes. So then we can say this. On a small screen, it should be 4 and 8. But on an extra large screen, maybe we only need 2 column widths for the label, and therefore on an extra large, or maybe just a large screen. That's XL. On a large screen, we need 2. And then on a large screen here, 2 plus what is 12? 10. Right? So we give more columns for the input type, the text box. So now when I refresh, the text box has a lot more space. But as we shrink the screen, you'll see right there, it's right there, it's leveraging the smaller size. Well, actually, it's leveraging the smaller size, the column 4, all the way up to large. So what I did not explain to you is when you don't specify the next size up, it just takes whatever the previous size was. So what's really being done here is it's doing column SM4 and it's doing column MD4 without me having to explicitly type it out. So if I omit these 2, because I've specified in the extra small size to be 4, everything up to but not including the LG size will just map out to what the extra small size was, right? So it just takes what's there and mimics it and copy paste it sort of in the background for you until you tell it otherwise. Okay, so we told it to modify the column width once we get to a large size. Okay, and I can prove that to you by saying, okay, column SM should be 3, and column MD should be 2, and column LG should be 1. So you see how we go 4, 3, 2, 1 here? Okay, now let's mimic this down here, right? Because now 4, 3, 2, 1, we need to make sure all of these add up to 12. So 4 plus 8 is good. The next one is SM. 3 plus what is 12? 3 plus 9. And then column MD 2. 2 plus what is 12? 10. And column LG 1 plus what is 12? 11. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's how we do that. So now we can take a look at what this looks like. On the small screen, we have 4. This is 4 columns, and then this is 8. And then as we get a little bit bigger right here, it changes. So you see how the text box has changed there in terms of the, see? Boop, 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 boop. That is a change in the column. So now we're using 3 columns and 9 columns, which sort of matches what we have down here, 3 and 9, which is why it matches up with the password so perfectly, right? That just goes to show that on the extra small, we're using 4 columns. So you see the label takes up more space than the password. Password we know is using 3. Now username is using 4. And therefore this one is using 8 and this one is using 9. We get a little bit bigger and then they match up. And then if we get it bigger again, they're going to break apart. Boom, like that. So now when we got to that's the medium size. The medium size is 2 and 10. And then if we get to the large size, there's 1 and 11. And as you can see, 1 and 11 for large size is not good, right? So now we don't want 1 and 11 for large. Maybe we only want, we want 2 and 10 like we did for the medium size, but maybe on XL is when we can do 1 and 11. And if I do this, remember, because we did not specify the LG size, the large comes after medium but before extra large. The large is going to take the one before it, wherever the one before it was declared. So it will inherit the medium size because medium is before large. Let me refresh. Now on the large size, it looks good. And then let me go to extra large. There's extra large. So extra large, again, doesn't fit right. Maybe when we get a little bigger. No, so extra large is not good. So basically what that means is that the smallest size we can assign to the label is 2. So we can just get rid of the XL because that'll be fine. Okay, so we only have to define it up to medium for it to be working well. Okay, so now as we shrink the screen, it's responsive and it will change the layout accordingly. Okay, cool. So now, in my opinion, this is what we really should do for the smallest size. Typically for the smallest size, I tend to do 12. Okay, and bear with me here. I know 12 plus 12 is not 12. 12 plus 12 is 24, but it will figure this out, and it will sort of put this onto a new row. So when I refresh, username will be on one row, and the text box will be on another row because it has to. Okay, there's no room for it to put another 12 columns, so it goes down into a new row. Okay, it does that automatically, right? And then as we get a little bit bigger, boom, then it goes to the sort of both on the same row. Okay, so on the mobile screen, the username will be above the text area. Therefore, the text area has lots of room to stretch its legs. And then as we get big enough, boom, the text area will go into the its own row. Okay, so now we can just sort of copy paste this stuff into the what's it called? Password elements, like so. Cool. So now the password will mimic the username. Okay, so there you go. As we shrink the screen, boom, 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 it all looks good. So this is how you make dynamic, mobile, responsive designs. Okay, mobile responsive with your software. Bootstrap, bootstrap, bootstrap. Really, it's a grid system, okay? And then if I want to do just a little bit of sprinkling on top to make this look a little bit better, I don't like that the login, first of all, this is not popping enough, so this, I want to make the, where'd it go? Please log in. I want to make this like a header. I'll put it like an H2 or something. Okay, and the second thing is I want a bit more room. I want some margin above here to push down the login screen. I don't think Bootstrap might have some sort of a class for that, but then again, if you can't find a class, you just can manually put in your own style, right? Because that's really what CSS is style. So I usually just say margin top is, I don't know, 1.5 ems or something like that, and then gives you a little bit of space from the top. It just looks a little bit nicer when you have some padding, okay? Cool. So there we go. Now we have a login screen with a nice error message. This looks a lot prettier than what we looked at like before, because now if I go to the create account screen, look at what this looks like. Remember, this is what it used to look like. Something similar to this. Different fonts. No, absolutely no responsivity. Responsivity, is that the right word? Not responsive at all, right? There's no, depending on how this, you size your screen, nothing's happening here. So this is going to look awful. This will look, okay on a mobile device, but this text is going to be really small, and you're going to have to pinch and zoom in and stuff like that. But yeah, compared to this looks a lot nicer, right? Right. So there you go. That's how you can leverage Bootstrap. So now to make your stuff look better. So now you've seen a fair bit of Bootstrap already, right? We've done quite a bit of stuff. Some things you haven't seen is how to, with the grid system, how to assign offsets. So there are such a thing as offsets, which is done variable width content. No, where's the multi-row? This is probably something we can get into in some future videos. There's alignments, so they can self-align themselves. There's offsets somewhere. Is there not? There you go, offsetting columns. So you can assign offsets as well in terms of, if you want to have, here we have two, two boxes, if you want, two areas of content that are MD4 in length. Okay, so in other words, 4 columns in length. But there's only 2 of them. So really, if you did column MD4 and column MD4, this one on the right should be right next to this one here. But as you can see, it's not right next to it. There's a space. How did they do that? Well, they added an offset class. So there's, MD4 like we're used to, and then they said MD4 with offset MD4. Okay, so 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. And what that does is it just adds a space in between. So that's another little thing that you can do if you want to add space between 2 elements. You don't have to define another third empty element. You can just define an offset. Okay, and there's plenty of other stuff that you can do. There's a whole page on all the cool little tricks you can do with grids, because really the grid system is the heart and soul of Bootstrap. Everything else is are components augmenting the code and leveraging the grid. Without the grid, all this falls apart, but the rest of it makes the grid look pretty. Okay, so that is Bootstrap in a nutshell. So now basically what I'll do is I'll take all the stuff that we learned here and apply it to this registration page as quickly as possible in the next video. So I look forward to seeing you there. Take care of yourself, happy learning, and bye for now.